So, you guys want to hear how my weekend has been?
Yeah, I want to hear about it.
Okay, so this morning I woke up at 6:30 because the cats were going crazy as usual. And that's like they're my natural alarm clock. I wanted to sleep in, but you know. And I went into the kitchen and I saw a trail of ants. And I was like,
shit.
Great. And it wasn't that bad. There was like one molecule of cat food on the floor that they were getting. So I like bust out the vacuum and I like suck them all up. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's figure out where the source is. Because my strategy when we have ants is to take a paper towel, dip it in a vinegar water solution and plug up wherever they're entering. And it usually works really well as long as I take care of all the ones that are out and then just plug up the entrance point and the exit point if there is one. So I'm like looking to figure out where these guys are coming from. And I follow them to under the sink. And I'm like, oh, great. That's where the trash can is. I hope they're not in the trash can. I open it up. They're not in the trash can, but they are everywhere. There was thousands of them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to figure out where in the underneath the sink they're getting in. And it's raining out. So, you know, ants always love to come inside when it's raining. So I think I get them and I'm like sucking up like thousands of these with the vacuum cleaner. It's like, I'm like itchy, right? It's like nightmarish. And then I realized that they're all on the edge of where the dishwasher is.
Oh no.
Oh, are they coming out of the drain?
Dude, I opened the dishwasher and it was a scene from a nightmare. It was the whole dishwasher was crawling. Like it was terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I'm fine with a couple of ants, okay? But not like this. It was just black. It was black. Like, it was horrible. So I was like, all right. I normally don't go for raid because we have cats. Yeah. But I was like, no. War. Like, it's on. So I like raided these guys and then I closed the dishwasher and I ran a cycle.
Yes.
And so they're all like being murdered, you know, like in the masses. And I'm just thinking about like all these ants and stuff. And then I'm like just sitting there like a psycho, like on the floor watching and trying to kill any of them that made it out and aren't being murdered by the raid. And I see live ants just dropping out of the bottom of the dishwasher, just one after another after another. Gosh. And I'm like, oh my. Anyway, so long story short, I think I have won the battle, but I spent like 2 hours just like murdering millions of ants this morning. And I have like that's why I might get a delivery during the podcast today because I have someone coming with like one of those things where they take the poison back to their lair and everybody dies.
Oh.
So I'm like, I'm going all in. These guys are nuts.
It's the powder, right?
I don't know what it is. It's like a little apparatus and then they go in there and then they take the stuff and then.
Yeah. We've had that in my old apartment. It was basically, so some apartments, depending on how old they are, they can get the ants inside the drainage systems. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they basically have to go in and they have to flush out the stack is basically what it's called. And we had an incident where we didn't know that's what was happening. We just knew they were coming out of the drain. Mm-hmm. And it was like months of like every few days we had to like raid the whole kitchen and like do everything. So if it doesn't get rid of them, Tara, just like go get the special, like, there's a special like solution you put down your drain that gets rid of them. So just been there, done that. It is not fun.
Yeah.
And that is a great way to finish 2026. Out with
2025. We're finishing 2025.
Out with the old, kill all those bad things, and then bring in the new year.
Yeah. All the things that you're leaving behind in 2025 that are icky and crawly and gross.
Ugh. Yeah.
Because I feel like there's been a lot of that. Bad things, bad juju in 2025 gone.
So speaking of which, what are we talking about today?
I guess I should probably do the formal introduction, right? And I mean, we could just keep talking about ants, but
let's not.
So now that you're all grossed out by ants and feeling like things are crawling on you, we want to welcome you to the Nutrition Digest podcast. We are your hosts and registered dietitians, always here for you. Tara Valenti and Summer Williams and Alicia Kugler. We're here to dish up the nutrition tea, to debunk the myths, to inspire, to inform, and hopefully sometimes entertain you with our stories about ants. Today, we're going to do something a little bit more personal. In today's episode, we're talking about our own goals for 2026. And I think you probably have picked up by now on the fact that we're all pretty goal-oriented people. So we've been thinking about 2026 and what we want to accomplish this year. But, they're not necessarily New Year's resolutions. We set our goals a little bit differently because we know how that story ends. So we're going to talk about what we're working toward in our personal lives, in our fitness and nutrition journeys, and maybe even in our professional growth, because all those things matter. So whether it's performance goals, mindset shifts, or just small habits we're trying to build, we wanted to give you kind of a behind the scenes look at the work in progress versions of ourselves, just like so many of you. We hope this episode gives you a little bit of inspiration and maybe some reassurance that it's okay to still be figuring it out as you go.
We are humans too. And just because we're dietitians and fitness professionals doesn't mean that we have everything together. We're trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, 100%. I've been actually talking with all of my nutrition clients over the last couple of weeks about thinking less about a New Year's resolution, because I feel like those really set us up for failure in a way. We set these lofty goals at the beginning of the year, and as soon as we fall off or something gets in the way, we've failed, right? I don't believe in that. I don't think that's the right way to go. So what I've been trying to do with my clients, and I'm doing it with myself, is really focus more on what do we want 2026 to look like, right? So that doesn't necessarily have to just be in terms of our nutrition or fitness, but what do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? What do you want to accomplish? What do we want to work towards? Not what we have to do, but what goals are we trying to attain, or feelings we want to feel, things we want to get in the habit of. So it's a little bit less, again, of that all or nothing thinking and more about taking it step by step and having it be a journey. So with that, we're going to start with some questions that we have for each other and talk about things. And hopefully, this may inspire you guys to dig a little deeper on what you're looking to achieve too. So starting with, what is one non-work, non-fitness goal you have for 2026?
I can go first. So for me, 2025 was a lot of getting myself settled, more SF, figure out that kind of work routine, all that. And so into the new year, I actually want to try to spend a little more time with my family. So trying to figure out a better balance of being in Canada, being in the US and SF. So that's a big theme, is my niece was born. She's 10 weeks old. She's the cutest little kid ever. And I want to see her. And my nephew is adorable. He's almost 2 and he's walking and gabbing and all these things. And I want to be a part of their upbringing. So for me, it's a big family orientation in the new year. Even just calling them more, having more FaceTime calls and things like that. I started to do that in the last few weeks, is calling my sister more so I could see my niece. And it just even if she was asleep, it just having that kind of grounding back to myself for my own mental health, it really helped. And then the other piece of the puzzle is exploring closer to SF, exploring California. We haven't had a car, but we have car rental service now. We're paying for. So I want to explore more of that. I think we didn't do a lot of that because we were just so busy all the time in 2025 that we working. And I'm take a step back and try to explore closer to SF.
That's a great idea. And that's really inspiring to me too. And it's funny, I think that this is going to happen a lot through this episode, at least for me, is as you guys are talking, that's going to make me think, oh yeah, I want to do that too. And how am I going to work that in as well? It's really fun to have these goals and chat about them as well, because you may be inspired, or it may lead you to think of something that you hadn't thought of.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I know, Summer, you had some travel goals yourself for the new year.
Yeah, so you're right. So again, for 2025, as most of our listeners know, it has been a total year in flux for me. I moved back from Australia and basically kind of started over in every way, shape, and form. So one of my biggest goals that is not health and fitness related is to kind of get my finances back on track. Starting working again in another country always takes some time to build back up. So getting my savings back in check, and then also ultimately doing some big trips, but wanting to get back to Spain and then go visit Portugal. whether it's a solo trip or whatever. Because if you know me, know my long-term goal is to move to Spain. So eventually I'll get there. So I look at it as a recon mission for the future.
Cool. For local exploration, one of the things that I do, because I'm a big fan of like staycations and weekend getaways and just little kind of like microdosing vacation, like, because we can't always go off to Spain or Portugal, even though I would love to do that all the time. We have to get our fix somehow. And I keep a running list of different places I want to go and different things I want to see. And I'll kind of like cluster them. So if I have, maybe there's a restaurant in Sonoma that I want to check out, and then I'll kind of gather other places in Sonoma that I want to check out, and I'll like categorize them in the notes app of my phone. And I share it with my husband so that we can add things. And then we have like expansive ones that are like worldwide and everything too. But that can be kind of fun because when you suddenly have free time, sometimes it happens unexpectedly. You're like, what should we do today? Okay, open the list and pick one. And it can be kind of fun to do it that way.
That's a great idea. I think so many of us live either in or in close proximity to bigger cities or have cool things in your own state or wherever you're from to go explore. There's a lot we can do to be tourists in your own town or in your own state or in your own province or whatever. And leaning into that is really fun and not being complacent. It's so easy to not have that list and just say, I don't know what to do, so we'll just stay home and watch a movie or go to the bar or go whatever.
Yeah, or do what we always do and not try anything new. Kind of tying into spending more time with family, one of the things that is always an ongoing work in progress for me is making sure that I make time to spend like concentrated time with my husband because my weekends are full of running. Like I'm always training for something and it can take the whole day. You wake up early, you get out the door, you run for hours, you get home and then you're exhausted and you're starving. And by the time you feed yourself, you take a shower, you're probably going to want to take a nap. Then it's like, okay, the day is over. And so during these heavy training cycles, which sometimes are very back to back, it's like, okay, I can go weeks without really spending quality time with my husband. And so I make a point of putting stuff on the calendar. And that's something that I feel like is always a work in progress. It's something that I want to be even better at next year. And I think I've done a little better this year too, but that's for sure a thing. Another thing on my list is just also tying into what we were saying before. I like to check out new places and check some boxes off the bucket list. So one of the places that I'm hoping to go this year is a bucket list place and a bucket list trail that I've always hoped to explore, which is related to one of my fitness goals because everything ties back to fitness.
Okay, you'll have to give us more details on where that is.
Yeah.
In a little while.
Yeah, maybe we'll just dive in. But it's a fitness goal, so I'll
okay. Yeah, hold on to that. Well, I really like what you're saying about like dedicating time with your significant other, because I think one thing that I see with a lot of my clients, bring it back to my clients for a moment, they sit on the sofa and just watch TV in the evening and then go to bed. And like, that's and then I think sometimes like I've seen it with clients where it's like, there's some guilt if they don't sit down and watch TV with their significant other, they're not spending time. And I'm like, instead sitting in time, like intentional time and like quality time together. So you can actually be more present and then maybe using that time to like go to bed instead and like focus on your sleep. So you are able to be more present later on. I think that's a really awesome goal just for like a lot of people to work on.
Yeah, watching TV with your significant other is kind of a weird one because it's like, sure, you're next to each other and you are sharing the experience of watching TV together, but are you really connecting? Only if later on you're talking about the show and maybe like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next and pondering like the whatever is going on with the show. Sure, you're bonding over that experience, but the actual act of watching TV together, I'm not sure if that counts as quality time.
Well, I will say, we can look at it both ways. I think it's really important to have that dedicated time where you're actually connecting, right? But maybe that's the only time, say the kids have gone to bed or something like that, and you get to relax. Maybe you cuddle a little bit.
Yeah,
you get to just like lay on each other, just like, just spend some time just being in each other's presence, even if you're not talking. that also could be a form of quality time. I don't think it definitely does not take the place of actual real connection. And if, all your time that you have together is spent not talking in terms of just being distracted, and I'm not talking about not talking in other ways. But it's like if you're never connecting, then that's, maybe something you want to try and focus more on. But sometimes I think for busy people, just having those little bits of time, that hour or so to watch a show together, and maybe you catch up about it, but maybe that's the time that you can just like be quiet together and just cuddle.
I think for me, it was more so kind of tying into my habit, which is for the new year that I really wanted to kind of like work on strengthening, which is my bedtime routine and like prioritizing sleep. Because I think sometimes for some people, it's more like they're feeling this guilt that they have to kind of stay up and like force themselves to stay awake, and they're like falling asleep on the sofa. So they're not really being present with their significant other. I know for myself, like I'm not really going to be present for Reza. I'm not really going to be cuddling. I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm going to be kind of cranky, just trying to stay up because I feel like I have to. And so that was more what I was trying to get at, because I know for me, like one of my big goals that I've kind of been paying attention to is my sleep. So in the new year, I really want to make sleep a big priority, because I'm able to show up and like, I'm still going to like stay up a little bit, watch TV and like have that time, but then also having other time for him.
Sure.
And I know for me, like that sleep translates over to so many other things that I'm recognizing in my life, like especially because I have a lot of medical stuff. Like, hey, if I am getting a good sleep, I'm able to manage my health a lot better.
So what are some of the things you think you're going to do or try differently for this year with your sleep?
I actually feel like when I'm in SF, I'm better at sleeping than when I'm in Toronto, because I'm really good at like making sure I'm done work by like 6:30. I'm like going for a walk after I finish my workday to disconnect from the workday, let's say to a random fantasy audiobook that has nothing to do with my work, to kind of like just disconnect my brain. And like I'm really good about like, for the most part, putting my phone away, plugging it on the other side of my bedroom and like leaving it there, and then coming out, watching some TV, foam rolling, talking to Reza, whatever, and then going to bed. That's only when I'm in SF. So the time that I'm in Toronto, visiting my family, whatever, I'm really bad because my bedroom is on the top floor. So I have to climb 2-3 flights of stairs to plug my phone in. And so then I have my phone nearby, and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm going to open my phone and I'm going to scroll. And then it's like, you almost have to like reset that routine when you go back. And I really want to just dedicate it, like, hey, even if my phone is there, like putting it on the stairs so that I then like don't have it with me, sitting with me as I'm like relaxing in the evening, doing whatever other routines, and then just kind of like making sure I have that time.
I've kind of allowed myself to really lean into doom scrolling or just playing games on my phone. Just I've had so much on my mind this year. So it was a good way for me to kind of just not think. But now that things are kind of a little bit more normal, I really, really, really want to break up with my phone a little bit more, especially at night. But it is when I do my Duolingo. So I need to try and figure out when I'm going to do that at a different time, because I can't break my streak.
Consume less, create more is a theme of 2026 that I hope to adopt, which is mostly tied in to not wanting to just be sitting there consuming junk on social media, or even just any screen, really. Like, I don't want to just be absorbing stuff that is put in front of me and letting it influence my brain and my mental health and my quality of sleep and all of those things. I would rather spend more time actually creating, because that feels good for me. I'm able to have that creative outlet, hopefully be helping others through my creations, and it's just a lot more productive and healthy. So consume less, create more, I think is something I should put on a t-shirt for the year.
I like that. That could be your theme.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. Is there any other habits that either of you are looking to kind of like build or strengthen come the new year?
I used to have a pretty solid meditation routine, not a long one, but I would do it almost every day, and I felt great. And I have gotten off of that. I just have not had the bandwidth. I have broken that habit, and that's something that I know really serves me well. So I'm very excited to work on getting that back. And even if it's 5 minutes at a time, or I just close my eyes for 2 minutes and just focus on my breath work, that's something that's been really, really helpful for me, my anxiety, helping me center, helping me stay grounded, relax, sleep, all of that. What about you, Tara? What else are you working on? Or what do you want to work on?
Yeah, my number one thing that I need to be better about is my prehab. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term prehab, it's what comes before rehab. It's so that you don't have to do rehab. I'm injury prone and I am constantly beating my body up, and I always have like little things that are bugging me, and I've, got a stress fracture last year and stuff. So I had a hip injury the year before that. So there's always these there's so many things that I need to be working on to strengthen certain areas so that my body is more resilient and sturdy and strong for the things that I'm about to put it through than the things that I am currently putting it through. And it's just so boring. Like, I hate doing my ankle exercises so much. And I have it on my calendar to do it like every day or every workout or whatever. And I'm lucky if I get it done once a week. I like avoid it so much. And I know I need to do it. So that's one thing that I'm going to try to work on this year, is just actually committing to doing the prehab exercises that I need to do and putting in some strategies to make it a non-negotiable so that I have to actually get it done, because I am the worst about that.
I find habit stacking is nice for that. I don't know if you've done it where it's like you're just tying some of the prehab or rehab stuff to like other things you're doing in the day. Like I have a couple of my clients that I'm like, hey, you have a left shoulder injury. Okay, you're going to brush your teeth with your right hand and you're going to stretch your chest in the door frame. And that's what you're going to do. And that's going to be your habit, that like for however long it takes you to brush your teeth, it's going to be however long you stretch your chest, or like whatever it may be. Like, could be like, hey, I have this moment where I'm like drinking my coffee in the morning and I'm going to do like my ankle rehab, or like, I find sometimes it's easier to do it that way versus like for some people like to carve out the time or say like, I'm going to do this in the day. It's like, if you don't have a specific kind of plan in place or specific time that you're setting aside for it, it can be easy just to let it go. I don't know if you both find that with clients or find it with yourself.
Well, that's what's funny about it, because we're like masters in this. We coach people on this stuff, right? I've tried all of the tricks. I've tried habit stacking. I've tried scheduling it in. I've tried reminder. I've tried everything. I just like rebel against it because I hate doing it. So I think part of it for me is just sucking it up and doing it. That's just how it's going to have to be. We'll see. I'll report back on how this goes, because it's going to be a struggle.
Check in, because I also have the same struggles. Like, I know I should be foam rolling and stretching, especially around my knee and my IT band, and doing work on my hips. And it's like, I know it. And it feels so good when I'm done. Like, I'm so happy. But do I do it? No.
Yeah.
Do I do it enough? No. And then maybe I'll do it once a week. And I'm like, this is great. Why don't I do it? But it's like prioritizing the time to do it. It's terrible. So I'm with you. We can be accountability buddies if you want for that.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like in some ways it's like yoga for me. Like, I tell myself that I should do yoga. I should do it. It's so good for you. It's great. It's good for the nervous system, stretching, whatever. And then I'll literally like sign up for a yoga class and put it on my calendar, and I don't go because I don't like yoga. Like, I need to just come to terms with the fact that I feel like I would rather be doing anything else than yoga. So yoga's not for me. But with the prehab and stuff, it's like, it's not optional. It's like, it doesn't matter if you don't like it, you have to do it. So,
but maybe that ties very nicely into the next question that we had for each other, which is letting go of things in the new year. Like, maybe part of what you're doing is like letting go of like trying to push yourself into yoga if that's not what you enjoy.
For me, my big thing that I'm trying to give up and work on, it's going to be a process that I go through for the rest of my life, is body shaming myself, self-shaming, body dysmorphia. I've done so much work on it, but it still creeps up from time to time. I'm way better than I used to be. I have a lot more good days, than I used to. But again, it still pops up, and I have to just really keep telling myself that, I'm in good shape. I am in a 46-year-old body. I am not 20 anymore. My body has changed. My goals have changed. My life has changed, and I'm doing a good job. But it still creeps up. It creeped up last night pretty big. I was getting ready for a party that I was going to, and I just sat in the bathroom for 10 minutes, and all I could look at was my reflection in the mirror. Every role, everything that I have a hard time with, that I struggle with, and it's really tough. It's a massive downward spiral, but again, it's something I'm always working on. It can get better, and I bring this up too because I know so many of my clients really struggle with this as well. It's something we talk about a lot, and it is a work in progress, and it always will be. So learning to continue to love myself more, and not beat myself up, and be thankful for the body that I'm given, and know how well it works, and all the great things that it does for me.
Yeah. And I really like that you're kind of saying like you appreciate your body. And I think for a lot of people, it's getting rid of that negative voice towards their body. And like maybe you're not someone that's like pro body positivity. Like maybe you're never going to be somebody that's like super, but even like body neutrality, like kind of saying like, hey, you know what? My body's done a lot for me and I'm grateful for my body. That doesn't mean that I don't want to change my body and work on changing it, but I'm not going to be hard to myself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's important. I think we all have little things here and there. Some of us, the voice is a little bit louder, but I like what you just said. Just even for me, taking myself as an example, it's not that I don't want to change. It's not that I know I can't get better or get stronger, but it's changing the conversation. It's not necessarily focusing, I am fat or I am this or I am this. I need to lose 10 pounds. It's more about I want to get stronger. I want to look in a way that's more muscular. And so it's changing just even the verbiage. It's just how I'm stating how I'm talking to myself and shaping my goals. So they're more positive focused as opposed to negative and beating myself up.
I think that's like so huge to kind of change the language, because I think for a lot of us, we don't focus on that. It's like, oh, my goals for the new year is to like not do this or not do that. It's like removing something versus to be like, hey, you know what? I want to feel like this, or I want to embody that. Like this is kind of the mantra of what I want to accomplish going into the new year. I really like that.
For me, having a performance goal has really helped. And because it's less focused on appearance and it's more focused on capability, and just shifting the focus to like, am I able to do what I want to do? And if not, how do I attack that? It for some reason it has helped. And it's like, I start thinking about food more as a way to nourish my body, a way to fuel my body, a way to get me to a goal that I have, rather than like something to manipulate so that I can change how I look. And I feel like for me, that's been relatively effective. Another mantra that is helpful for me when I get in my head is, and this helps me, I don't know if it'll help you or help others who get stuck in that ugly mental cycle that sucks so much. But I just say to myself, it's okay. I'm a work in progress. So
actually, yeah. I needed to hear that words right now. Like I'm having a tough go a little bit myself right now because I have 2 injuries and I'm feeling very like beating myself up because I'm like, part of it is like, hey, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach. Like I shouldn't be injured. Like this is stupid. Like a lot of language is like, you know what? Like, it's okay. I'm going to change. I'm going to shift that. So thank you, Tara. I needed to hear that right now. It's good to have these conversations because sometimes I think we think that we're alone in these moments, but it's like we have support systems and we have people and somebody's just hearing from a different frame.
Injury is a whole other piece of the pie too, because especially in our field, we literally live and breathe fitness and movement. And it's like what we do for mental stability and happiness. And it's what we do for a living and all of that. When you get injured, it can be really tough to not blame yourself, to not feel bad or shamed, or like there's a lot of negative feelings that can come up from an injury when you're working in our field. And also just in general, getting injured sucks. It's hard not to be kind of like mad at your body and feel like your body has wronged you in some kind of way. So that's like a different mental hurdle. When I got my stress fracture last year, February, almost a year ago, I went into the sports med doc and she like knew right away. She literally like pushed on my bone and was like, stress fracture. So I wasn't mentally prepared for it at all, but we were sitting in there and we were talking. And one of the best things she said to me, the most helpful things she said to me was, you can be doing everything right and still get injured. And that was like the most, like the best thing she could have said in that moment, because the natural thing for us to do is to blame ourselves, to go back and like spiral and think about like all the things we could have done wrong or we could have done better and all of that. And she was just like, we're taking that right off the table. Like this can happen even if you're doing everything right. So that made me feel a lot better in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's really just helpful to hear it from another perspective. And what you were saying earlier, Tara, really brought something up that I've been working with, and actually working with Alicia, because she is writing my training programs right now, is I like to have that goal. I like to have a goal that I'm working towards. But what happens when you can't do that goal because of injury, when you can't work towards it? Like one of the fun goals I always like to have when I don't have a race or something that I'm working, like a big goal like that, is it's usually a pull-up goal. And I've always been able to do a lot of pull-ups. I've trained for it. It's fun for me. And now I have this pesky injury. It's a chronic injury. I have it on both sides, but it's in my forearms. It's from when I was in Cirque du Soleil. And sometimes I can't do pull-ups because I have such a bad strain in my forearm. And it's like even an easy goal for me, I can't do. So all these goals I've set for myself on top of, already my history with being negative about my self-talk and that kind of thing. So even that now is compounded when I can't even do the goals that I'm trying to do because I have flared up my knee. I have back problems because of what I've done, and because I have scoliosis. And it's, again, many years of putting my body through a lot of stuff. So it's been really good to talk to Alicia about that as well, about reframing that it's not my fault. And part of the reason that I'm in this position is because I've done some really cool stuff. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or I've been failing. We just have to get better. And another great thing Alicia had said that I didn't think about it, and as dietitians, we talk about this a lot, is inflammation. And the fact of being under such a long period of stress, moving, and it doesn't have to be physical stress or just mental stress. Like there's a lot of different things that we do that can help inflame, or that makes our body inflamed, that, also makes us more injury prone. And until we kind of get all that back in check, we can't be at the best shape that we're in. We can't look or won't look necessarily how we want or how we foresee ourselves or how we picture ourselves. And that's okay, and we just keep we keep putting one foot in the front of the other. We keep showing up for ourselves. And again, reframing how we talk to ourselves, reframe how those goals are.
Yeah. One thing that I find myself saying a lot and even thinking a lot is it's not if, it's how. Like quitting is not an option. We have to move our bodies. We have to take good care of ourselves. This is not optional. You get one body. So when we have barriers, we have setbacks, we have challenges, we have those little injuries that pop up, sometimes those major injuries that pop up. It's just a puzzle that we need to figure out. It's like, okay, well, I have these challenges. How can I still do this with these challenges? How can I still take care of myself? How can I still move my body? How can I still feel good about achieving goals? Those goals might have to change. They might have to look different, but we're not throwing in the towel here. That's not how this goes.
Yeah. I really like that. And I think for a lot of us, it could pose an opportunity to work on small stabilizers and rehabilitative exercises that we need to work on.
Speak to your personal trainer about this.
Well, I think that leads really nicely into like us shifting gears and talking about our fitness goals a little bit for the new year, as seeing as that conversation has already naturally flowed this way. You can tell that we're fitness people and into moving our bodies. I don't know, Tara, you were kind of mentioning already that you had some goals for the year. We want to hear about it. You have us on our edge of our seats. We want to hear about it.
Yeah. So if you're a person who does races, you already know that as soon as you finish a race, you sign up for another race, or even like before you finish a race, you're like, what am I going to do next? So I have a couple of races on the calendar for 2026, just the first half of 2026. I don't know what the second half is going to look like. My number one goal every year is just to not get injured. That's the priority number one, but it's also like, how far can I push myself without getting injured? Last year, I did get injured. This year, I have some bigger goals, and I've learned a lot from my injury last year that I'm hoping can help to build tissue resilience and prevent my body from getting injured. I have 2 races on the calendar. I have Mountains to Beach Marathon, which is in April. It's April 19th. And that one is you run from Ojai, California to the Ventura Pier. And it's a net downhill, which some people who don't run think that makes it easier. But it actually, downhill running is really hard on your body. So I have to train for downhill, and I am going for speed this time. So my last race was dipping into the ultra world. I did my first ultra in November, but I was not speed focused at all. I just wanted to go and do the distance and enjoy the journey and see the sights and stuff and see if my body could go 30 miles. Now, for the beginning of the year, I'm actually going to try to go fast. So that is a totally different style of training. It's road running, not trail running. It's going to be a fun little challenge. And of course, I'm working with my coach, and she's going to help me navigate all of this. And then I was looking for ultras to run this year, and I actually had ChatGPT do I had all these different criteria that I wanted to meet for the ultra that I choose. And it created an awesome little list. And I found one that looks pretty good, and it fills up really fast. So I actually have to register for it on January 3rd at 7 a.m., like buying concert tickets. You have to refresh it and make sure that you can get your spot. But it is a trail race. It's on the Pacific Crest Trail in Oregon. And it is a 50-mile race. So
that's awesome.
That'll be the furthest I've ever gone if I make it to the start line without an injury. And so I am very excited. But the Pacific Crest Trail is legendary. I mean, most of you, I'm sure you've probably heard of the Pacific Crest Trail. If you haven't heard of the Pacific Crest Trail, it's the trail that goes all the way from Mexico up to Canada. So people will literally quit their jobs to do this. People have raced it actually, to see who could basically, the goal is to finish it in the smallest amount of time. There's been some really interesting records broken pretty recently, actually, on the trail, but it takes months to complete. And it's extremely challenging because the terrain is so variable. And because it takes a long time to complete, the seasons are going to change and stuff as you go. So you're dealing with all different kinds of stuff. But anyway, I'm not doing that. I'm just doing a segment of it if I get into the race and if I can arrive at the start line with no injury. But one thing that's cool is that I asked my running coach, I was like, hey, have you ever done this trail before or this race before? And if not, do you want to? And she is 90% sure that she can do it. She said it's been a bucket list race for her as well. Cool. So me and her might actually run it together, which would be really cool.
That's awesome. And when's that race?
July, I think.
Okay.
So summer.
Keep us posted.
Summer in Oregon, not summer in SF.
Yeah. And so it's going to be a lot of varied temperature. We'll see. And I think I have to camp too. So no cozy hotel room to sleep in before the race, sleeping on the ground.
Oh, that's so funny. I was just about to tell you I would come up and support you, but maybe not.
It's cool. It's going to be a whole thing. Maybe we can get an RV or something. That would be cool.
So fun. We should do that.
I should
RV
do that.
way better than camping.
Yeah.
What about you, Alicia?
So I've been, I guess it's been a little bit of I had my big goal this year of finishing an Olympic triathlon. I've been working towards that. I was riding a high after that. I had planned to do some races that kind of didn't go quite as planned into the fall. But I did them. It didn't go quite as planned. That's fine. And so kind of into the new year, one theme that I've kind of been working through now that I am, talking about running too. I'm not at Tara's level of running. Just to clarify, I'm a triathlete. So running is very tertiary. I'm more of a cyclist and swimmer. So 2025, I developed a lot in terms of I can run a lot better, and my cycling is just kind of taken off a lot, especially because my coach is a lot more cycling focused, and that is the largest part of a triathlon anyways. It's that's going to be majority of the race. So into the new year, I want to kind of try to challenge myself doing some more like running stuff. So I am potentially considering doing a half marathon in October in Toronto. So that's kind of like one of my big goals. Sorry, it's the Toronto because it's flat. I want to do flat. It'll be cold, and sometimes like this year it was freezing rain. So I'm like, I don't know if that weather, but I would rather actually run a race that's flat and like a little bit on the chillier side, because I personally prefer cold weather running because your heart rate stays a lot lower. That was one thing with my Olympic race in the summertime. It was in peak heat. It was no coverage from the sun. It was, we were running on the highway, and the highway was closed. So it was like peak sun. I was like, this is no. I did want to do a 5150, so a quarter Ironman this year. I don't know whether the timing is going to work out because it is in Mont-Tremblant in Quebec, but it may not work timing wise with my traveling back and forth because it might be right smack in between two of the times I'm supposed to be in Canada. So that might be kind of held off to the next year, but I do want to I want to do at least one Olympic this year. I need to figure out the timeline for that. And then I want to actually go back to sprints, because one thing that I've kind of realized looking at like my genetic tests and like my performance after doing the Olympic is I don't think ultra long triathlons or running is going to be a thing for me. I am a strength and power athlete. That is my niche. And whenever I switch to like strength training and like lower volume training that's a lot heavier or explosive, that is my jam. And that works really, really well for my body. And so I want to listen to my body and embrace that a little bit more, focusing a little bit more on sprint. So I want to try and hit like a PR in a sprint this year. I need to figure out, because I think I will probably end up doing it in California. So I need to like check out any triathlons. So if anyone listening knows good sprint triathlons in California, let me know. I don't want to swim in the Pacific Ocean. It's too cold. I'm not. I like cold weather running, but not cold water swimming. Not my jam.
Alicia and I both did the same genetic test, and we were talking about our results, and it was honestly like pretty cool. But one thing that I was not surprised by, and both of us have this gene, we have the gene for high pain tolerance, which I mean, just totally is in line with people who like to really push their bodies and take it to the next level. It's really helpful when you are running for that long to have a high pain tolerance, because it hurts really bad. I had the endurance gene, but there was like different levels of endurance genes. There's like average, and then there's, I think, elevated, and then there's ultra. I do not have the ultra gene. I just have like the regular endurance gene, but it was kind of cool to be like, okay, yeah, this is in my genes.
Yeah, I had the ultra strength and power gene. That was mine, was like the highest level of that gene. And I'm like, maybe doing the long endurance stuff was working against my genetics. And it's actually been really interesting because I've been tapering on my endurance training, focusing on shorter sessions more frequently and really pushing the intensity. And I have seen changes in my body composition. I have felt better overall. My HRV has been a lot better. So it's like, well, maybe there's something to this genetic test. Maybe I should listen to that. And maybe if I am even training for an endurance event, I should be focusing on like working with my genetics and doing shorter, more intense. But I think Tara, too, you also had the Achilles gene, which can also be linked to other injury risk factors. So looking at the evidence, so it's like we have high pain tolerance, but then we also have an injury risk factor. So maybe we should be aware and cautious of this.
Yeah, I had multiple ones that put me at higher risk for injury. I had the rotator cuff one, the Achilles one, and then I had like the high muscle damage one.
Yeah, same. I had all three of those as well. And then did you have any of the, I didn't look at your results. Privacy. The one that was for like all the immune markers and the inflammation markers. I have all the elevated inflammation markers, and I'm like, this is something I should be careful of.
Yeah, mine, it's kind of lame. Well, I had some interesting metabolic stuff come up too, but I was like, cool. So my engine is great. Like I can keep going forever, but it's just my tissues will break down before like my cardiovascular endurance will. So that's where I partially was tapping into my goals for this year, is like, okay, clearly injury prevention needs to be a priority, and just building a really strong, sturdy body, even though my instinct is to just like throw the shoes on and run all day long. I can't do that. I have to focus on the strength, stability, and durability of my body too. So
yeah, 100%. Summer, what about you? I want to hear about your goals, even though I kind of know some of them already.
That's really interesting. I'd be really interested to do that genetic testing as well. So my goals are way different than your guys' goals. Not a bad thing. They're just different. So I don't have any races or anything like that. I think my first big goal is just to heal my body. I have a lot of injuries. I have a lot of soreness. I'm going to get an MRI tonight on my neck. It's going to be great. I hate MRIs, by the way.
It's a Sunday.
I know. It's better than my first one that was originally scheduled for 11:30 p.m. on a Friday.
Wow. These are wild hours.
I thought it was a misprint. And then when I called them up to confirm, they're like, no, we basically do them all night because there's just such a need.
Yeah, it's common here, like 3 a.m. appointment slots in Toronto for MRIs.
So my appointment's at 6:30 tonight. So anyway, my first big goal is just to kind of heal my body, get it back to working optimally. I've had, injections in my facet joints in my back a few weeks ago. I may have to have an injection on my neck. So there's just a lot of things I'm working on there. But secondly, I really want to get stronger. As you guys probably know, if you've listened to our podcast, I used to be an acrobat. I was in Cirque du Soleil for a long time. I was an aerialist. So I definitely tend to be stronger in my upper body and core and not so much in my lower body. So that's really helped me for some things, but now I'm seeing in terms of injury and endurance with my body and my muscle, like I'm just not quite there in my lower body. So really want to get better and get stronger in my lower half, start lifting heavier. I do think it would be cool to really start lifting more. It's not something I've ever played around with or haven't that much. And I think it's really fun to feel strong. And not only does it feel good, but it's really good long term as well and for longevity. And again, as I'm entering in that peri and postmenopausal stage of my life, strength training is just super important. And I train clients as well. So that's one thing I really want to do and just kind of see where I can go with that and see how strong I can get. And then the other goal is more, and I've been actually working on this goal since I retired from Cirque du Soleil, so over 10 years ago. I have not found my thing. I haven't found my niche, my favorite thing that really gets me up and going in terms of working out. I really enjoy climbing. I may try and get back into that. I had to kind of stop when I had my knee surgery. I've always wanted to try Bollywood dancing, so I'm going to try and do that. Like just trying to find different things and different ways of keeping my body fit. I do think it would be really cool. I saw this advertisement and I have it saved in multiple different places. It's a climbing holiday or a climbing vacation in Joshua Tree. So you go and you can be any level of climbing. I can't boulder anymore because of my knees. So I really like top rope. So if I could manage to get back fit for that and do something like that, I think that would be epic. But mostly, injury prevention, get stronger, start lifting, see where I could go. I think I have a tendency to be able to be strong, especially in my upper half. So I want to just see where we can go and how strong I can get.
Love that.
So we know that accountability is absolutely critical in all of the goals that we have set for ourselves. So what we should do is in a couple of months, check in on all of these again and see if we're being consistent.
I love that.
I think we should, maybe in a couple months, bring it up again in the podcast and do an update on all of our goals and see where we're at. That would be cool.
That'd be great.
I know that all of us will be breaking these goals down into smaller bite-sized pieces and working with coaches to make sure that we're actually accountable and doing this in a smart and strategic way. And that is something that is common among all three of us. All three of us are working with a coach to help support us through our journey. So if you're listening to this and you have big goals for 2026, think about hiring a coach, whether that is a coach for your specific sport, a coach that is going to help you with your nutrition related goals. If you have nutrition related goals, obviously we're here and we are ready. If you would like to work with one of us nutrition wise, we'll add a link to the show notes so that you can book a session with any of us if you're interested in doing that. And with that, we want to thank all of you for joining us today, listening to us talk about some of the things that we're working on for 2026. We hope you are as excited as we are about the things to come, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.